from Einmal Eins Productions. This is Singletrack, episode 314. I am your host, Matthias Eichler. Thank you for being here. Singletrack is brought to you by Electric Cable Car, your daily source of news and updates on the mountain culture and the business and sport that is trail and ultra running. And this special episode is part of our month-long UTMB coverage. Visit electriccablecar.com to stay up to date. Julie Urbanski will be racing OCC in just a couple of weeks. No stranger to the UTMB madness, Julie has been with her family many times in Chamonix, crewing and spectating, but this year it's her turn to run the race. I also asked her about some of her favorite places and things to do in the Chamonix Valley, including what gondolas to ride. Very important. I cannot wait to touch down in the Alps and take it all in myself. See you soon in Chamonix, but first, here is Julie. Julie, you are on Singletrack. Welcome. So excited to have you.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
You are here because it is August, and we are 2 weeks away from the biggest week in trail running. It's UTMB week, and you and I, we both are running OCC. So we have to talk about it. Super excited. How is everything going? How excited are you?
I'm very excited. So this is our 5th time to Chamonix, and I've crewed for UTMB twice. I've crewed for CCC and TDS, and so I've never gotten to actually run it myself.
You've always had to have the crewing duty, and now this year, finally, we were able to make it happen. You got into OCC. Super, super exciting. So there are many races. Is OCC the one that you felt like was reasonable based on your training, or was that the one that you always wanted to run? Talk to me a little bit, since you've seen all the different distances and parts of the course.
I think it was the one that I could still train for and not have a suffer fest through if I wasn't 100% trained for. So,
nice.
And still enjoy my day and not have to run through the night. So,
yes.
I think UTMB training is massive, as is CCC. Well, in TDS, I'm not a technical runner, so
okay.
So that would have been just a massive challenge. So, yeah, I like that I can still train hard and still have a really long day in the mountains without having to go overnight. So
yeah, that was partially my calculation too. When I put my name into the lottery, I was debating between CCC and OCC, and based on it being the first time for me in Chamonix and all of the other things that I want to do while I'm there, I thought, let's not overdo it. Let's do OCC, because that seems something reasonable to finish. So tell me a little bit. You've been adjacent to and training for UTMB races now for many years. Your husband Matt has run UTMB before and stuff like that. Tell me a little bit about it. What other UTMB events have you seen? Have you raced? Have you been part of?
Well, I did the Nice 50K 2 years ago. That was my Stones race, and that was the inaugural race. And I think that's the only other UTMB race I've run, and that was cool. It was the inaugural race, so it had some hiccups, but it was cool. A month in Nice prior just to see it, and it was kind of fun because I knew the last about 15K of the course, and so you feel local, I know where I'm at, I know what's left, and just to know some of those trails and have trained on them was cool. So
yeah. So
well, obviously I've been to the big ones. I've been to other huge ultras, but not some of the other European UTMB races.
Okay. So you've been now several times in Chamonix. Was that always to support Matt, or were you there for Team RunRun? You are co-founder of Team RunRun. We should obviously mention all of this too. Do you have an official capacity when you're there as well?
No, just crewing and momming. And
crewing and momming. I remember last year seeing the photos, and you took the kids climbing, and I was like, yes, that is the perfect European summer vacation.
we're finally at the point. The first one crewing probably was 10 months old.
Okay.
No, 8 months old. 8 months old. And so that was hard. That was UTMB. And then, so it's gotten slightly easier as it goes, because now they can both do climbing camp and just do more of the fun stuff that's in the valley, other than just hanging out with a baby. So,
Amazing.
Yeah, his mom.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about how training is going.
It's good. I just want to get to the starting line first, injury free. That's like the biggest thing. And then second, I was telling Matt, I just want to get to the point where I feel like I will probably have highs and lows, but I don't think I'll ever doubt that I can finish. And so I don't love totally going to those dark places. And that's kind of how Nice was for me. I'm not fast. I'm like middle of the packer. And Nice was just fun because it was like, I know I'm going to finish this. I'm going to enjoy the climbs and enjoy the descents. And it happened to be a crazy rainy day and with snow up high, and which was crazy after high in the 90s the week prior. So it was all about just adjusting to that and then just enjoying the day. So the training's going okay. I have a double this weekend. This one's my last like big weekend. So
nice.
Once we get through that, I will feel like, whew, okay, I got through that. I'm better. Yeah.
Very cool. That's the one that I've already passed. I got my double in already. So I'm gonna take what you just said. I'm gonna own this because I've tried a few really big races and bit my teeth out on it. And I always I mean, a DNF is a DNF, right? But yeah, there comes this part where you suffer so much or you're chasing cutoff for so long, right? That you sort of don't really have fun anymore.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm looking forward to having a race where you can really enjoy it and you don't have to fret and worry that you're going to finish it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm just so excited to see the course. You know, I've crewed so much and I've done training runs and hikes around there. And I'm just excited to just be let free to just go see this course and do at least a part of because I would love to do the TMB someday, the Tour de Mont Blanc, the whole thing. I don't think I ever want to try to do UTMB, but I would love to do the TMB over the so it's fun to see a slice of it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I am very curious too, because I've spent some times in the Alps, but I've not spent a lot of time in the French Alps. And so I'm very curious how the mountains will feel, how the trails will be and stuff. And I'm curious for myself if it's going to be something where we've done the little one and then there's only like hunger for more. Well, now you have to do the full loop, right? At some point, right? You sort of like get the bug, or if it's like, no, this was good. It's a better way of sort of balancing, seeing things in daylight, not destroying yourself, still being able to take advantage of the madness of what's happening in town and stuff throughout the week and not have to like completely be dialed and worried about everything, right?
Yeah, I agree. It's a good balance of a race.
Yeah. So you've seen several stretches of the course already. Prep me. What can I expect? I hear there's a pretty brutal climb right out the get-go, right?
Yes, I think it's like 3 main climbs, with the first one having a little break in between after Champéclois. And from what I've done in training, I just know that you kind of just like lock into your uphill, like this is grinded out gear. And I usually put on like an album that I know. It's like get in that rhythm of just going uphill with your poles. And so I picture having like 3 of those with hopefully some running in between. Yeah. So, like I'm trying to mentally prep myself to not think of it as total like a running race, because I'm like I said, middle of the pack at best. For me to run hills, ups or downs is more a win, and so anything I can run is going to be the win for the day, with a lot of power hiking in between. So.
You'd be excited to hear I talked to Hannes Namberger, one of the top German trail runners, and he basically, after he won Lavaredo this summer, he was on the show. And he said one of the biggest things that he's practicing between then and now leading up to UTMB is hiking, is power hiking, because UTMB is so much steep uphill where you inevitably are going to be power hiking. So not just the mid packers and back of the packers are hiking. Even the front packers will need to have that in their arsenal and need to be able to do that if they're doing UTMB.
Yeah, that's true.
So what are the highlights of the course, will you think? Do you have any pieces that you're specifically looking forward to?
I know Champec Lac is gorgeous because I've crewed from that spot a lot with that lake.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's a beautiful spot, and I know the big climb and I obviously know Trient. I think we do a big climb or a descent down to Trient. It's the famous town with like the pink church.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know. And then La Flégère is like the last big up. And I know Matt last year, I think that's also the last big up on UTMB.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he was just grinding it out, feeling awesome. And then this guy I think from Sweden passed him. He's just like, dude, you are crushing this, right? It's like, Matt's like, I think of myself as a good uphill runner. And this guy just caught me and crushed it. And so I think they ran the rest of the way together, the rest of the climb and the descent. And so I know once you do that descent, you're not home free, but you're done with like the massive climbs.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think in Argentière, which is before La Flégère, I'm going backwards. I think that's when Matt and the boys are going to try and see me because the train comes out to that spot. So,
cool.
So I know more of the sense of, I know the aid stations, and then I know some of the climbs because I've done random climbs throughout the valley, like the big 3,000-foot climbs where you're climbing for like 45 minutes. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. You're looking forward to running into town. This is such a unique and special sort of European thing, right? Most of American trail races, they end on some remote dirt road, right? You're not really getting this like mile and a half through town experience with people actually being out and about.
Right. Yeah, I'm used to like, someone finishes or wins this remote 100 and there's like 4 people clapping for them, right?
No.
Whereas we've been to the finish. So when Matt ran CCC, we were able to see the finish of UTMB,
Mm-hmm.
which, normally as a crew person, you don't actually get to see elites finish because you're out crewing. And so it was cool because there's big screen TVs throughout town. I mean, it's like the Super Bowl of running. The whole town is out watching someone follow this runner on the trail and seeing them run into town, which is super iconic that I get to do that. Hopefully. So,
Right.
yeah.
Not hopefully, you will get to do this. I know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to imagine how dead am I going to be? Like, will I be able to actually run it, or will I just like shuffle my way into the finish?
As PTL runners run it, you'll be able to run it. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. That's amazing. Well, cool. So you're gonna be for like a couple weeks in Chamonix, right? You will like fully take on that experience. So there are 2 sides to Chamonix. Have you ever seen Chamonix without UTMB? Like, have you seen sort of the normal like tourist town without the madness of the people?
Yes, and it's pretty sweet. So the first time Matt did UTMB, we spent 2 months in Chamonix
Nice.
prior, and not even knowing, like, this was 2016. So this was 8 years ago, and it really wasn't even that big yet. And we stayed in Les Ouches, which is like 5 kilometers outside of Chamonix, because we found a cheap Airbnb, and just had it to ourselves. Matt to go train would go train up on the trails and go into town, and then when race week comes, it is obvious when people start arriving because it is just suddenly packed, and there's queues for coffee, there's queues for everything. And so we always get there a little early. 2 part is just to enjoy the town before everyone else is there, and 2 is to our boys usually do a climbing class, so they're doing, and it's like legit climbing walls. They go for a week, 3 hours a day, and they do a different wall every day. And these kids are just climbing these rock walls, and it's pretty cool.
That's amazing. Tell me, What do you do with the family in Chamonix before everyone arrives? I think this is the two part. I mean, you do the climbing camp. What do you guys do? Are you staying in Chamonix this year or
In Chamonix, it's Chamonix Sud, like South Chamonix technically, but it's not. It's still proper Chamonix, like within the like walking of town.
Mhm.
And we're staying in a place we stayed in a couple years ago, and we were able to book again. And so things to do is definitely the climbing course and Lake Passy, which is about a 20-minute drive from Chamonix. So if you have a car, there's a huge lake with they call it acrobatique. It's like the ropes course in the woods, like tree
Yeah.
to tree.
Hmm.
It's fun, different levels. And I mean, the French know how to do it. Like whenever we're there, we're just like, man, these French have it together of like stuff to do with kids, outdoor activities, things that are challenging and unique and actually hard and not just like Disney World challenges kind of feeling, they're like legit climbing course challenges. Um, there was what else do we do? There's another park that we like to go to. So Matt and I tend to do like handoff runs with the kids. So we'll go, okay, we're going to go, like one of us will drive the boys to the park and the other person's going to run to that park. And so then when we meet, then the one parent who has been there that whole time gets to go run home or run from there and get in their run. So
I
yeah,
love that. I love that handoff run. That's fantastic.
the handoff with finding parks, finding trails. If they're along the trail, then bonus because then the kids get to play the whole time and we each get our run in.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Have you ever been up with the gondolas to Mer de Glace and
yeah, we've done Mer de Glace. We've done the Aguil de Midi. It's the
yes.
really big one,
Hmm.
the massive. It's totally worth it on a sunny day.
Hmm.
Uh, we've done like the pass where you get a pass. You can do, I think it's 3 gondolas in one day, or you do it over the course of 3 days. It's cool because you can take the gondola up to where the course crosses, like La Flégère crosses up there, and you can go up and see where the aid station is going to be. You could hike up it and gondola down, gondola up, hike down. It's cool. Yeah,
Fantastic.
it's
Yeah, no, I'm planning on taking the family up there as well. I need to figure out how that fits into with be in between all my press briefings that I'm supposed to be participating in. Well, we'll see. I think the gondola rides will always take priority, I would say.
yeah, yeah.
Well, awesome. So this is Chamonix as a town. So now the crowds arrive. Now the official expos are happening. Now the group runs and all of the other events. Is that something you engage with? You've got little kids. Is that something you participate in? Do you check out the latest shoes at the booth? How do you sort of engage with that side of this gigantic event?
Yes. It's a hard one with kids because they have no interest whatsoever in it. They could care less and they don't want to be there. And so it's partially like I partially love it because I want to be out there too. So there is a little bit of jealousy usually the last 4 times that I've been there, like that I'm not running it, that Matt gets to be part of all the hype. And so it's a weird mix of wanting to be in it and then also not wanting to be because you feel like an outsider because you're not in it. You're like me as the parent, I'm
Hmm.
carrying around kids. And so I kind of, I have a mix of feelings during that week and I try not to feel like, I mean, it's like the who's who of ultra running, right? Everybody looks so fit and it's hard not to feel like, man, should have done a few more runs. Like few more runs and a few less slices of like cake after that run, right? You just feel like so it's hard not to compare yourself, right? Uh, but then again, everybody probably feels like that. I'm sure even the elites are super nervous and feel
Yeah.
like they didn't do enough, right?
Yeah.
But then it's also nice to see, you see like Amanda Basham, who's got 2 kids, and her husband Justin, and you're like, well, they're doing this, they're juggling it, they're here like both showing up for their races, juggling the kids, juggling the training. And so it gives you hope that like, oh, it's not just me that feels like this or that has to juggle all this too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting perspective because I sort of got into that world once my kids were already a little bit older. So I don't have that experience where, one of us, me or my wife, were sort of trying to navigate this, and the other person had like two toddlers to wrangle, right? We sort of waited. And so I can imagine how that goes. The voice that the words of support that I can give you is it does get better. The older they get, the more engaged, the longer their concentration span, right? The more they can handle, right? And so in some respects, this will get easier to sort of manage and organize. Now, this last weekend, me and my wife, we organized that Beast of Big Creek trail race, and my kids were at the aid station and at the summit turnaround point, right? So there comes a point when it gets really sad for a short period of time when they like get teenagers when they don't want to do anything with you, right? Where you can't, and you're like, oh man, I've lost them. And then it flips, and all of a sudden they sort of remember that all of the stuff that you did with them as kids was fun, and then they want to do it, and then it's like glorious. I hope
Yeah.
that for you.
Cool. I hope so. And I will say the boys are like they're good. They've been to all these major races. They've been to Hard Rock, Leadville. They've been to all the marathon majors except for London. They've been to massive ultras and Western everything. And so they're used to it. They know exactly what's happening. They're not like, oh, they're kind of like, oh, this again. But we've also gotten better at like bringing, the oldest can read on the Kindle now. And I feel like whenever I'm like setting them up in a chair with a Kindle, I'm like, yes, we're golden.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're coloring or whatever it may be. So
Yeah, yeah,
already flipping and turning and they're used to it.
cool.
But they won't sit there while we sit and chit chat at the race expo that's what I really want to do is just have a coffee and chat at the expo with people. But they're not really into that. So yeah.
But this year is your year. You're the one who is racing, right? I mean, Matt's the one who's gonna wrangle the kids, right? I'm gonna drag you to every press briefing and to everything.
Yes, and I'm racing on Matt's birthday. August 29th is Matt's 43rd birthday.
It's my birthday too, so it's going to be an awesome day.
So good.
Yes. Well, no, fantastic. I mean, I am super massively excited to get to experience this, and to be in this and race this and stuff. And for me, it's crazy because I've had such an insanely busy summer. I've barely had a chance to really prepare. When you sent me an email with the mandatory gear list, I'm like, I haven't even looked at it. I know that it's not as severe than UTMB, and I know that I've run races with mandatory gears. Somewhere in the house, I know that I have all of that stuff, but I haven't even had a chance to look for and prep it all. And we are flying out on Tuesday, so
Well, it's not that crazy. It's only crazy if they make us carry the cold weather gear. That's the only.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see, I haven't even looked at the cold weather stuff. So, so you are in Portugal right now. How has, I don't know, Portugal is far away from the Alps, but in Germany on the north side of the Alps, the weather has been very mixed, right? And like there were several races in like early June, late June in the Alps that had like massive reroutes because of weather, snow, landslides, and everything. Do you pay attention to it? Do you get a sense that it's starting to like normalize in the Alps and the normal summer is happening, which is like, normal in the Alps can always mean weather.
I don't pay attention whatsoever. I will admit that full on.
Nice.
I don't pay attention to that. So we're in Portugal. We're close to the ocean, and so it's just a very temperate like weather. We don't get crazy cold or crazy hot. And for us, the biggest climb we have is about 1,500 feet. So it's only like half of what I should expect in the Alps. So I'm a little nervous about that. And the fact that I just don't have those crazy big ups. But yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping they're having a good weather, I haven't even paid attention. I mean, I know it changes so fast. Like last year we were there and our first few days it was in the 80s and then it started raining and it rained for like 3 days in Chamonix.
Mm-hmm.
The clouds parted and there was so much snow up above. I don't remember, like 8,000 feet. There was so much snow. And then suddenly the top, oh my God, carry the cold weather gear. TDS is starting in the snow. PTL is starting in the snow. It was just nuts. And then it switched and then it was gorgeous for UTMB. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's at the point of the year where stuff switches really quickly at the end of August, beginning of September. And so I'm just bringing all of my gear since we are driving from Portugal. So we leave next Thursday. It's a 20-hour drive, but we're taking it in 4 days. So we'll just take our time.
Yeah. Fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah. I'll I'll arrive from the north. I'll fly into Berlin and then take the train down to Geneva and then hop over. I've got some family to visit in between, so that's how I'll arrive. All right. So, any favorite spots in Chamonix? Any places that you absolutely, need to recommend to me or anyone else that I can't miss? Restaurants, food, anything else special that one has to see?
Well, I will say the coffee shop, although I hesitate to say it because it's already popular and the lines are crazy, but it's Moody's Cafe or Moody's Coffee is really good. It's just like a 2-minute walk from our place in Chamonix, and everybody knows about it already. That's where they start a lot of group runs from. So you'll see like the who's who of ultra running meet up at that coffee shop. It's hard to avoid people. It's hard not to like kind of be a fangirl when you're during that week because you turn your head and you're like, oh my God, there's so and so, right? And there's the coffee shop. There's obviously the gondolas. What I love about some of the gondolas is there's always a cafe at the top. There's always like you I love it. You work so hard. You're like walking for 3 miles up and you get to the top and you're like, oh, there's a restaurant up here. And they serve food and like good, like everything. It's amazing. I love that about France. And I don't know if that's just a French thing or if that's a European thing, but
It's the Alps, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I do love that. I feel like that's unmissable if you want to hike up to the top and gondola down or gondola up and hike down. That's a really cool like way to do, or hike up or, run up and down, whatever.
Yeah.
So
It's nice because it allows a level of spontaneity. It allows a level of flexibility, especially with kids, right? There's a lot less to sort of like plan and prep and worry about and take with you and stuff, right? Yeah, sure. Some of these places are a little bit more expensive than down in the valley, right? But you can sort of be spontaneous, and I mean, having a piece of cake or whatever up on a mountaintop, I mean, it always tastes better, right?
yes, especially if you worked to get there, like or with kids. The other gondola that's really cool is the Brevant. I think it's Brevant, where you go up and then it like crosses this massive area. So it's almost like a horizontal one too.
Mhm.
I don't know how to explain why it's so cool, but it is really cool because like two gondolas that when you're in town looking up at it, you think, no way. Like even the same as Aguila Midi, you're like, people built this. How many years ago? Like, how did they even build this? That's what amazes me. And those two gondolas are, I think, must do. Moody's coffee is really good. What else? The Mer de Glace train is pretty cool because you take it out to the glacier and you can walk around the glacier. With kids, that was cool. And what else? I mean, I just love the hiking. So my favorite trails to train on aren't actually the ones with the gondolas. It's the ones that aren't connected to a gondola because then there's no one there. So my favorite, I'm going to do it when I get there, is like, it's called Belle Le Chat, I think is what it's called. And it's just up the side of the mountain and you get to the top and there's a little refugio there where it's not a restaurant. It's like for the TMB hikers. And so you're there. And so I just love the climbs where no one else is there. And then throughout the valley, there's also the train. There's the train that can take you all the way. It's like Martigny. I can't say the name of the town. Martigny. I don't know. Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
I don't speak French at all. So
Amazing.
yeah, cool.
I'm so excited. Yeah, I can't wait. That was exactly the kind of like conversation that I needed to have to kind of amp myself up and get ready for this. It will be absolutely incredible to meet you in person in Chamonix when we all arrive. And I don't know, maybe you need to take me up on that trail that you were talking about. I think Matt has a couple more training runs, but I'm in Chamonix, so maybe I need to take one of those trails to get up there. Otherwise, tell folks where they can connect with you. Do you have your own Instagram? You've got the official Team RunRun Instagram. Give people a couple links. We'll add those to the show notes.
Yeah, yeah. I'm on Instagram as I think I'm just Julie.Urbanski. I don't remember. And then
okay. We'll verify that and add the proper link to the show notes.
Mainly just my kids on that. That's the Instagram of my kids. So and then Team RunRun is just at Team RunRun on Instagram. And so yeah, we'll be posting along the way. And I'm on Facebook too. I mainly just post my kids. So
Nobody's on Facebook anymore, really, so we don't need to link to that. Facebook is only for extended family photos and stuff, right?
exactly.
Fantastic. So is Matt coaching you? Is he taking care of you?
Matt is coaching me, so he is the one giving me the workouts, like giving the mileage, and we were in the States for 2 months, and I mainly was doing flat running because that's all we had. And so when we got back, it was like, okay, how can we ramp up without getting injured as much as possible and still get in tons of vert and trail time, and working on downhill. So my weakness is that I'm like the Plinko. Is it Plinko, that game in where the Price is Right, where the thing's going down the board and it just kind of bumps around to go to the bottom, and I'm not like a nice flowy downhill person. I'm just like a bum, 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 like I not very not very good at doing them. So we've been focusing on me trying to actually run downhill comfortably and just slightly faster because I'm just so.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So how does it going with your husband being your coach? Do you like, when you fill out the little summary, is he like reading through and saying like knows how to read between the lines? Right? If I fill out that summary, Matt has not met me in person, but probably by now, after many months, he can sort of interpret what I really mean when I write it out. But is he like coming back and be like, yeah, that's not how you really felt, or how is that relationship from a coach to?
So he's been doing the long runs with me, just one a week with us. So we get a babysitter. So on Sunday we have 18 together. So he gets to hear me whine about how I feel the whole time.
Yes.
And so, and I don't write much. I just or it's funny, like yesterday I just felt awful because I just felt really tired, and so I just didn't do the run. So I just wrote nope, like didn't happen, don't feel good. So it's pretty minimal. He knows how I feel. He knows any like weird little aches and pains I have, and so it's cool. I need someone to tell me, otherwise I'll probably would overdo it and go think I need to go spend 5 hours just trying to go uphill as much as possible versus focusing on certain things. And so it's good that he helps me choose what to focus on and not feel bad about, oh, you're not doing 25 miles this week, or this weekend in one run. That's fine. You don't need to be doing that. So
Yeah, that's my big takeaway too, right? That it's more about very specific exercises as opposed to just cramming in as many miles and then always feel guilty that you probably should have done more miles or something like that. That's the big relief. And then the other big piece for me is that I didn't really think I needed a coach, but now I have so much free time because I don't have to worry about a training plan. I don't have to worry constantly about what I'm supposed to be running tomorrow or next week and how these pieces are supposed to be building up. to something that gets me ready to a race. I mean, just having that freedom to know that's going to happen is, I mean, obviously I still have to put in the work and I still have to be honest in my explanation how I feel that Matt can respond as he's sort of building the plan, right? But to not have to lay this out for myself frees up a huge amount of like mental time that I can focus on other stuff. So it's totally worth it, right?
No, like I'm in no way worried that won't be ready. I know with what he's laid out, I'll be ready. I'll be fine. And it's good because he also reminds me of little things like, okay, wear the full kit this weekend and have the full kit on you so you know what that feels like. So you're not just running with water normally and then you get to race day and you're like, oh, here's an extra 5 pounds of stuff. And he helps me focus on making sure I get enough gels and calories. And I still have like the road runner mindset where you head out for 20 miles with like a gel and and that is not the case for trail running and especially Chamonix kind of running. So
yeah, because the trails are steep, right? I mean, that's the thing that really hit me. Like we have the Olympics next door to us, and there are some trails that are steep, but training on these trails did not prepare me for the steepness of some of the trails that I've encountered in the Alps. More on the Swiss Alps side, the Monte Rosa region, around the Zermatt area. But I was really surprised, and that shocked me because I didn't really prepare for that.
Yeah, the steepness, and I also think the length of the climb for how long you're going uphill or how long you're descending. I think that's it's so much focus, especially on a downhill, to have to be that long on something.
Yeah. So. Yeah, super. All right, Julie. Thank you so much for your time. We'll definitely be checking in with you in person without the podcast in Chamonix, but then afterwards, we'll absolutely have to hear how your race went, how the entire event was, because obviously this year is your year. You get to experience package pickup. I don't know if that's special, but go to all the special presentations and stuff like that. So it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. Then we can hash it out afterwards and compare notes.
Absolutely. It will be very, very cool. Thank you, Julie, for coming on Singletrack and getting me into the mood for Chamonix. Next time, we'll see each other in person. Thank you, dear listeners, for joining us and for all the support throughout the year. If you are going to be in Chamonix at the end of August, please reach out to me. I'd love to say hi, grab a cup of coffee, whatever. Would be really fun to connect. For more links and info on this episode, visit the show notes at singletrack.fm. This was another incredible episode of Singletrack. I can't wait to see you all in Chamonix. And of course, Electric Cable Car will have daily trail and mountain coverage. I'm your host, Matthias Eichler, saying auf Wiedersehen und tschüss.